I'm very excited to introduce today's guest, who's an entrepreneur in the tech, software, and app development space. He's relatively new to China, but he has a very long resume in this business sector, in this industry. So without further ado, can you give us a little introduction, where you're from, what you're up to out here in China?
Thank you, Nick, for that introduction.
Absolutely.
My name is Archit. I'm from Dubai. I moved to China about a month and a half ago.
Still pretty green, huh?
Still pretty green. And I'm here to head up the consumer app space, consumer app company, where we're building out products for mass consumers, in the world, with a focus on big markets. So keeping China and India in mind, we're launching
the biggest markets. Right?
So we're launching products for those markets.
And how are these markets right now for the app mobile space?
Well, it's exploding. There's a lot of hype.
The market's exploding in China. Get out of town. It's typical here.
So there's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of big players in the space now. They're doing really well. I think day before yesterday, I was reading an article where the top 5 billionaires in China are all in the technology space.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and with 3 of them focusing on mobile alone. So the likes of Tencent, the likes of even Alibaba is going into the whole mobile space with acquisitions.
Okay.
So there's a lot of excitement. So that's happening in China and India. There's a lot of investments happening in stuff like Flipkart, Ecommerce, a lot of commerce channels, focusing on mobile in a big way. So there's a lot of excitement around the space, and we're really excited to be, to start and of figuring out the space. But we're really excited with the products that we have in place.
I've seen your guys' client portfolio. They're some of the biggest names around, which is great. And I just want to know, a month and a half, first off, personally, life in China. Can you give the audience maybe a little feel about what it's been like?
Sure. We're in Guangzhou, and it's relatively expat friendly.
Absolutely.
You get to meet people from all over the world.
That's one of my favorite parts.
Right, and it's really funny coming from the Middle East. I thought I'd come to China and not meet any Middle Eastern people, and there's so many of them.
So many of them here trading and doing exporting.
And you walk down the streets, you find Arabian restaurants, you find shisha places, you find Arabic food. It's really surprising, but it's really nice. I think it's sort of like I've only been around the newer parts of Guangzhou. And it sort of is a home away from home, because it's Chinese. I don't know Chinese fluently, so and I know a lot of people have issues with that.
Not the easiest language.
But around the newer parts, it's easy to talk in English and get things done, especially if you're traveling and stuff like that. But
so you've had a relatively easy adjustment to.
I have. So I knew people here, so the transition was easy, just because the people that were here have been here for a long time and know it. So they
know
just
the ropes, know the places.
Yeah.
That's great.
Really
important to always have a few connections here when you're making the move. And business, talking about the business culture here in China. I know you've been able to work with your staff, and assistants, and how's that transition been?
I've been working with this team over the last year. So physically working with them is another experience altogether.
Absolutely.
The Chinese are very diligent in the sense that they work in the given hours, and then they're out. So when they're at work, they sort of work, which is refreshing. Coming from the Middle East, there's people like to take an hour smoke break, an hour break, and kind of just take their time with things. But over here, when they commit, especially in the space that we're in, because timeline is so important. So when you commit to a timeline, delivering is super important. And I can see, and they've been relatively doing well in delivering products and projects.
That's great.
And plus, because we sort of deal with a lot of large corporations, so the likes of, say, for example, Nike, we deal with Chorus around. So these are large companies. So it's really important to kind of ensure that we deliver on our promise and deliver on timelines. And it's been good. It's been great. Language is definitely a little bit of an issue. But a lot of people, because they've come from really good colleges around, so they know English.
So your talent is pretty high on your team, which is not the same for all businesses.
Absolutely.
But in your space, it's necessary. So you have a good talent.
Yep.
That's great. And now talking about, it sounds like business or life had a good transition, business had a great transition. Have you made any mistakes in your personal life? Some of the foreigner just get to China mistakes, or in business, or maybe you do something that was inappropriate in their culture.
I just learned this. Apparently, saying thank you we went for a lunch with a client, and they were serving tea, and there's a way to say thank you with your fingers, and apparently I put one finger out.
Ooh, you said he was a subordinate.
Yeah.
That's never good.
And so
I've done that. I did that to the vice president of China Telecom.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I
learned that
I did too. Like, he was this senior manager for Nike around, and
I've heard of that company.
And so I did this, and everyone was like, "Oh, all right, you're not supposed to do that." No, okay.
It's so funny that happened to you too.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorite stories to tell.
So that was something that I learned.
When I did it, he was just like, "Don't do that." And I was
like,
I thought I was saying thank you.
No, I got nudged. So my colleague ran and was like, "You can't do that."
Oh,
so
okay.
I got nudged.
I got called right out.
Oh yeah.
But hey, that's great.
Yeah,
learning
lessons, and so that was probably like I've only been here for a month and a half, so I'm still trying to
absolutely
learn the culture. From a business perspective, I mean, I've made a lot of mistakes.
All entrepreneurs do.
All entrepreneurs do. So, but it's all about just learning from it and ensuring you get up and you kind of do it again, and ensure that those are the pitfalls. So how are you going to approach those pitfalls, and how are you going to conquer it?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's sort of it's a great learning experience. I think if you're an entrepreneur, don't be so hard on yourself. It's a learning curve for everyone.
It's a mindset you have to have.
Yeah.
This isn't. There's no. There's books and there's guides, but everyone's on their own journey.
Yeah.
Everyone's their own individual, and that you segued right into our last point perfectly. I mean, any tips for entrepreneurs who want to do business in China from what you've learned in this short time, or maybe a market that they should be
right? Well, the things I've heard are, it's really important to sort of, if you're planning to come here, it's really important to build a network before coming here.
Mm-hmm.
I think getting in touch with friends who know friends who are doing stuff there, it's key, because this market's very different from, a lot of other markets. It's all about relationships, it's all about the people that you know, and it's really important to kind of, get that sorted before you come.
Absolutely. So kind of have a little base of friends or people you know when you land.
Yeah.
And then they have a smooth transition like
they do. Yeah.
Because I've done these interviews before, and it's a lot more horror stories.
Yeah.
Glad you didn't have those.
Right. So I mean, it wasn't for the the people that I knew, that I think it would be really hard for me to really adapt.
Yeah.
From finding location to going, all these small things that could really bother you.
Yeah.
So
kind of the way Tim and me did it 4 years ago.
4 years. Yeah. Right.
That was awful.
You mentioned that. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, Arjit, thanks so much for coming on the show today. If you guys have any questions, we're going to go ahead and link to his website and also maybe his Facebook if you want to get in touch with him. Again, an expert in the tech software space. Definitely get in touch, and hope you enjoyed the episode. Have a good day, everyone.